Hi, my name is Pat Woods. I'm the Director of Religious Education at Abraham Lincoln Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Springfield, Illinois. And I'm here today with your Time for All Ages. Actually, I'm here with two stories today, but they're connected, so don't worry. The first story is an ancient Greek myth about a guy named Narcissus. Now, if you'd like to know more, you can look it up, and you can also look up the narcissus flower because it's named after him. So you want to know more about him? All right, here we go. So a long, long time ago, there was a young man who lived. His name was Narcissus. He was beautiful. Now, depending on which story you read, he had long, flowing golden locks, or he had short, curly, beautiful black hair. I figure that everybody has a slightly different vision of what beauty is, so just picture the most beautiful young man you can possibly imagine. He was physically fit, he was well proportioned, he had a pleasing face, he had a pleasant voice. I mean, he had it all and a bag of chips. And the problem was, he also knew it. He knew he was gorgeous, and he knew he was all that, a bag of chips and a side of soda. Well, as those people can sometimes be, he became very self-absorbed. Whenever he saw a reflective surface, he would look at himself, compare the people around him, and realize, oh, there's no one that compares with me. And he got tired of hanging around with people because they just weren't as beautiful as he was. So he spent a lot of time out by a pond looking at himself and just seeing how beautiful he was. And interestingly enough, he fell in love with his reflection. Can you imagine? He thought he was so beautiful, he fell in love with his reflection. And so he sat there for hours gazing at the beautiful young man in the pond. And that turned into days, and that turned into weeks. And you know what happens if somebody doesn't eat or drink for months? That's right, he wasted away to nothingness. But because he was so beautiful, the gods took pity on him and transformed him into a flower. And that's the story about how we have the narcissus flower today. Now, there's a side story with this about a young nymph named Echo who fell in love with him and also pined away, but that's a story for another day. Or it's something you and your family could look up on the internet. So the story of Narcissus and Echo. Now, the reason I told you the story of Narcissus is because I also want to tell you the story of a young lady I had in my class last year. She was a remarkable young lady. She was smart, she was thoughtful, she was kind, she was beautiful too. But the thing that I remember most about her is how kind she was to people who maybe didn't have her skills. One of the things we did last year was do some research, and a couple of my other students were really struggling to get the research done. They just couldn't figure it out even after I'd helped them. Well, my student noticed this. And you know what she did? She didn't think she was better than they were, like Narcissus might have. She asked if she could help. And they said, oh yes, please. Could you give us your sources? And she said, well, I'll share my sources with you, but how about I show you how I found them? Because then the next time we have to do an assignment like this, you can find it too. And I thought, what a remarkable young person. Because she doesn't think so much of herself that she gets wrapped up with herself and in love with herself and ignores other people. And she didn't just be a best buddy who gives answers away. Instead, she took that moment to help her fellow classmates, but she also helped them learn. And you know what? It paid off. She became a better researcher because she taught other people how to do things. And they became better researchers because they had several people, me and my student, and there's some of their families at home, helping them learn how to do research. So there's a lot of lessons we can take from today's stories, aren't there? The first one, don't get so wrapped up in yourself that you don't pay attention to other people. Because as we found out from Narcissus, that can have kind of a bad ending. And as we found out from my student, wow, it can be beneficial when you do help other people. So your challenge for this week, every single one of you has a talent like my student did. And I challenge you this week to share that talent with someone. Don't just give it away. Don't hand them something. Teach someone something, because that's a great way to help yourself and to help others. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.